There's actually a much larger project going on right now for rebranding Jamaica, being done by a British firm. Nobody has heard what they've done yet. Hopefully we'll find out soon. But what we typically do is we use something called a brand wheel, where we figure out what it is, beginning from the physical attributes of the product, meaning your region, listing all those attributes, and then going in from the physical attributes to emotional attributes, the things that people think of, remember, and love about the region, in order to get to the idea of a core, a heart, an essence of the product. And then that product, once we figure out that essence, we determine what's called a unique selling proposition, the thing that is the most unique about you. And from that unique selling proposition and from that essence, all the things that we see in a marketing campaign, things like positioning lines, taglines, headlines, all the content that comes from it is guided by that essence. And it never changes. And this is something that works for products on the shelf to places that tourists may visit. That process is it only costs what the brains cost to do it. It's not something that requires a whole lot of outlay, and it's something that should be done anyway, COVID or not, because what you develop now is something that you won't change going forward once COVID-19 is finished, and we know that it has to end somewhere sometime. There were a couple of questions that I think Madam Moderator had for me, and maybe other questions since we started. So if there are any, I could take them now.
Okay, fantastic. Before we ask the questions, Michael, I know our panelist, Mohammed, has to leave now, and I'd request that we possibly just shoot him some questions. He has another meeting, and it actually communicated that. There's some questions that have come up that he can possibly answer before he leaves. If that's okay with you, Bwana Mohammed?
Yes, that's fine.
Okay, fantastic. Now, I have a question from Bwana Yum Shana, and he says, do you expect or forecast the cost, I guess it's a cost of travel or the cost of accommodation, to change when you start to provide services to your consumer guests? That's question one from Yum Shana. And then I have another question. Bwana Kimani, can you see another question for Bwana Mohammed? There's a comment from Terra Madre Tours. We need to promote domestic tourism as she's saying, as Hersey has put it, we need to promote domestic tourism as Nakuru County because we have a lot to offer. It's not just about the lakes, the caldera, and the historic museum. We also have tourism. We've got tea, we've got coffee, we've got wine. So she's basically affirming that whatever it is that you've told us to concentrate on is really what we should be looking at as stakeholders. We also have the Mau Forest, which is another untapped potential in terms of ecotourism circuits and engagement with indigenous communities to enhance food culture and heritage exchange. So that's quite a bit. So I guess from what we have, that was only one question, unless my co-moderator has another.
Madam Hersey, are you? Madam Sally,
yes. Yes.
I have one question for Mr. Hersey. This is David Mange again. Before Mr. Hersey steps out, there is this funding, the stimulus package that we are getting from the government, especially the 2 billion, and it has not come out so clearly on how it's going to be shared. I don't know, maybe from the Federation, whether he has concrete information on how it's going to be shared, because the only thing that I heard is that it is being categorized into two: those who have been in the industry and they are suffering, and those who want to enter into the industry. I don't know whether there's any. And secondly, I know Mr. Hesse sits in the COVID-19 fund that was constituted by His Excellency the President. I don't know whether that particular fund has a program in it that, like, for example, is there any support from the fund or from the committee direct to tourism, whether it's marketing, whether it's capacity building, or anything?
Mwangi, it looks like Bwana Harsi has already logged off. I cannot find him. So we'll pick up those questions and we will be able to forward the questions to him, or possibly one of the panelists can.
I can see, Charity, I can see he's still there.
Okay.
But he cannot unmute. You need to unmute him. He's saying that.
Thank you. I think I've lost some 2 minutes there. I need to step out. Thank you, Charity, again. Firstly is the issue of cost. Definitely is not going to be cheap to travel, especially for the international travelers. And also even domestic, by the way, if you're going to fly. If airlines are forced to fly a seat empty in between passengers, then that means the other passengers will have to bear that cost. Then there's the issue also of hotels that will not be allowed to operate on full occupancy. Globally, right now, many hotels are operating between 30 and 50%. You tell me, how much business can you conduct at 50% occupancy when you can only break even at 70%? So again, that's going to be a very big challenge. But hopefully, the challenge is out of the way, and then we are able to take more numbers, and that means we should be able to do better business. The other question that has been asked by David Mwangi is about the stimulus package. Stimulus package, the first time we were given the package, we were told it is for hotel renovation. Then it was changed and said, hey, it's for paying salaries and helping staff to tidy over, this particular period. A committee has been set up. There's a team dealing with it, chaired by CS Honorable Matiangi. We sit on it as well, but we have not yet sat, and the criteria has actually not been laid out. So that's all I can see for now. But it is mainly to help staff who've been laid off and the ones who are already also employed but are not getting any salaries for that matter. So associations will come in. But let me also say this, 2 billion shillings is quite a drop in the ocean. When we looked at all the membership and all the numbers, we ended up with something like 50,000.
I think we lost him for a bit. Bwana Harsi, can you hear us? I think we have lost Bwana Harsi for a minute there. As we wait for him to come on board, he's basically outlining that yes, costs will change, and costs will not change to a cheaper cost because the destinations will become expensive because of what we have to put in place as providers of these products. And then he also mentioned, lastly, he was mentioning about the stimulus that is going to be given out. The guidelines have not been set, so we don't know what the guidelines are as yet. And the 2 billion that has been set aside is quite a drop in the ocean, considering that we have very many properties or very many providers that are already registered with the government. I do acknowledge the presence of the chair of Tourism Fund, Bwana Alphonse Kioko. Thank you very much for tuning in. We may ask you 1 or 2 questions and give you an opportunity to join the panelists and just comment on 1 or 2 things. In appreciation to all those who have tuned in from wherever you are, we really do appreciate time taken to be part of this great journey for Nakuru County. Michael, we were with you when you were discussing about branding and that we have to look for a unique, as a county, we have to look for the essence of Nakuru County. for us to work on that as a brand. And I think that's that we may need to take further in terms of coming up with the essence. And I'm sure you're going to guide us and hold our hand as we work on our brand as Nakuru County. Seeing that we'll now not even be targeting the older generation that we're really looking at. As Angela said, we need to target people who want to buy Kenya, the domestic traveler who's really in touch with what is happening on the ground, and they want to build and to build anything that is Kenyan. Maybe we could just ask what the advantages. I know it's a question that you're used to, but what are the advantages of branding a destination? And what simple tools can the stakeholders use before we go to the bigger picture, because we are about to open, but what simple tools can we use to achieve instant results post-COVID in terms of branding?
There are a number of tactics that you can use, but from a basic branding standpoint, it really requires that people be reintroduced to Nakuru, especially people who are not accustomed to moving around in the country or in the region as much. You come up with things that are campaignable, whether it's a tagline or slogan line or whatever those things are, but it will require some very basic logistical things as well, such as price campaigns, partnerships with brands that everybody's accustomed with and everybody has to interface with, like Safaricom. Really pulling out those unique attractions that exist in the region. I was reading about Lord Edgerton Castle yesterday. One of the things that Jamaica is focusing on now is wellness tourism. Minister of Tourism just had a worldwide Zoom seminar on Sunday where they were talking about focusing in on that as an angle that will be important even after COVID. The idea of bringing people to Jamaica and the region who are interested in everything from our mineral baths to our spas. Quite a number of those have been built up in recent years. And really, so it's a question of leveraging things that already exist, not building in things that you don't already have. If there's anything about the region like dishes, meaning types of food, music, celebrities, any of that type of thing is something that you need to start pulling for now. Nakuru should already have a branded COVID-19 mask that people can wear. Simple things like that can make a difference and aren't super expensive.
Now, Madam Charity, I have a question for Michael.
Yes.
Just a follow-up small question. As a destination right now, and the whole world is all affected by COVID, we are all down everywhere. When would you say is a good time to start branding? Is it we wait until things clear up a little bit so that we can clear? Remember, we want to brand two destinations in one. There's what we call Naivasha as a destination and Nakuru as a destination. And we would like to brand them so that when people come to Kenya, they can say, I'm going to this destination, Nakuru, I'm going to the destination called Naivasha. We want them to be both separate destinations so that we are able to offer variety. Is it a good time for us as a county to start doing it now, or we wait until this COVID thing is down a little bit? That's the first question. And the second quick question, I think you've answered it, I wanted to ask was, other products that you have in Jamaica, you do not have tourism like the way we have wildlife. You have hotels and beaches and all that. Is there any other product that you have in Jamaica? I know you've talked about the wellness, which is something we've noted, the hot baths and the spas and all that. And we're going to look at some because we have some in Gilgil and we have some in Naivasha. So these are great things. And I think we have some in Baringo. So we're going to look at this. But are there any other products that you have in Jamaica that you think we can take advantage of, or we can, and you don't have to give them to us right now, you can just send a comment if you're not ready to answer that. Thank you.
In addition to wellness, ecotourism was something that Jamaica developed and introduced over the recent maybe 10 years. It wasn't one of the original value-added areas of tourism. And so our rainforest areas, our, we don't have as much wildlife as Kenya, but some of these areas that have indigenous animals have been developed into tourist areas where you can ride along a river and look at crocodiles and that type of thing, which was not a product initially. And so there are people now who are coming to Jamaica who want to look at things like the source of a river, or they want to look at the forest up in the Blue Mountains and that type of thing, which didn't really have interest for tourist investors initially. And so that's been very successful for Jamaica. So now you can do things like riding a zip line through the rainforest out in the country, which is something new. Wasn't something that tourists could do before. So it will really come to the region and those two areas that you mentioned to be able to pinpoint what those things are. Things that you enjoy and probably never even spent that much attention on, to be able to leverage them for local travel. And anything that you're going to develop for local travel is going to be valuable once COVID ends anyway. It just means that you pull these things out, dusted them off, and made them part of the regional brand so that you have more value added for people who only thought of you in one way before.
Michael, thank you so much. We have you've just answered a question, but I'll just read it here. It was from Miss Barbara Short, and it was to everyone and to you especially. Would you see this as an opportunity to open up also less visited areas and sites and develop new products? And I think you've answered that, and that's correct.
That's correct, yes. And so the other part of your question about whether or not these activities should start now, whether we should be working on things like that now, you can always start the brainstorming, the figuring, the determination of the brand essence, the things that are not as expensive, not as capital intensive, because you're going to need them anyway. The rollout you can always hold on to, depending on what's happening on the ground, depending on what is taking place with your actual opening up, whether it's in July or whenever. We weren't sure what was going to happen in Jamaica until we found out that the airlines would start coming in again on Monday when the 500 people came in. And so they're going to do a very sort of careful, scaled reopening, which is happening all over the region. I was looking at what the other islands are doing, and it's not quite the same everywhere because some people still have quarantines and what have you. But everybody's opening up in some degree.
One more question has come for you, Michael, before I get off, and it's from Y Maisha to everyone, Michael Brand. What is the situation along the Black River as tourist destination in Jamaica? The question is from Y Mashna. I'm not aware of the Black River, but maybe you know about that.
Yeah, the Black River is the biggest river in Jamaica. It's wide enough for boats, and I think small ships used to be on it. And so it's an area where tourists have done the most of this eco tourism product that I was just talking about, where they, people can refer to crocodiles by name and things like that. It's thriving, doing very well. and it has protected areas. And so all of those things about national parks and forests and sustainable wildlife and wetlands and all of that, everything related to the Black River connects to all those things. And so it's something that I never really heard about when I was growing up in Jamaica originally, but it's something that's been added to the tourism product over time. And so that's why the person who asked the question is aware of Black River, because it's been added to attractions because of ecotourism.
Thank you so much, Mr. Grant. We really appreciate that. Madam Charity?
Yes, thank you so much, Michael, and for waking up so early in the morning to be with us. We really do appreciate. My question right now, my comments will go to two people. I know one was not prepared, but she's always prepared. And I'm going to ask Dr. James Karanja. Thank you so much for joining us once again. You joined us during our last call. And we just need to hear from you. You've been bringing in a lot of groups. You do a lot of community tourism and cultural tourism. And being a handler, bringing in about 5 groups per year into the county, and being out there in Germany, and the family has opened up this week. Would you be kind enough to share what is happening in Germany and whether Europeans will be traveling to Africa anytime soon? I know Mohammed Harsi has said that international travel will take a bit of time. We've had some DMCs also saying the same thing. But what's your take on this? Over to you, Dr. Karanja. And once again, thank you so much for joining the call. You can unmute
Thank you very much for inviting me. And I thank you all for the ideas that you have been bringing in, because this is what we need. We have to market Nakuru. I am very impressed with the discussions that are going on, and very happy to hear how you guys are discussing this and thinking the way forward. The situation in Germany is likely so that we are doing a testing phase now in the places where most people like to go for holidays, like in Italy, in Spain. There are some islands where people like to go there to do their family holidays. This is the testing phase that is going on with a lot of tour companies, trying to see what will happen if when people get there, this is going to help. And if the measures, the protocols put in place to curb COVID-19, if this is working. So this is what most companies are doing. This is what the government is helping most people to do. I have seen a lot of companies now beginning to advertise places like Egypt, places like Morocco and Tunisia. Those are North African countries where many Germans like to travel. And when they are advertising these places, destinations, that means that many people would like to go. When I talk to a lot of my friends, a lot of colleagues and people we work with, we have a lot, but many people want to travel. There are people who are asking me, is it safe to go to Greece to do my holidays there because I booked? And I tell them, what is the Ministry of Foreign Affairs saying? What are the airlines saying? And those are the things that we are observing right now. The problem that we have is with airspace. That many countries have not been able to clear up, or have not been cleared up. That means that we don't have any flights going to those places, which we would really want to see happen soon. But the biggest issue that we have currently is about that what Angela has talked about, the safety and security of the people. One of the things that Germans like to emphasize on is your health is my business. And so if we are marketing Nakuru, one of the biggest things that people want to hear every day, and that is what I do with schools, that is what I do with the community that I work with, is the issue of health. Your security, is this possible? Is it possible for me to be able to certify everyone that I am going to put measures into place? And Germany has been able to do some of these things in most of the places. We have some resurgence of the virus in some places because some people didn't care much or didn't pay attention to the rules of social distancing and shaking hands and sharing meals. Those are things that we see in some big rental houses where big families are living together. But all in all, we have been able to curb the virus. And so now beginning to think where people could go for holidays from here. And this is what is happening, that we have, like yesterday, the over 500 Germans booked their flights to go to La Palma. They booked their flights to go to other places in Spain. And so that means that the confidence is there to go out. But the thing is that, do those places provide enough safety and security health-wise? So that is the question that many people are asking. And if you are able to provide that, it doesn't matter where that is. We are a global village. Whether we start discussing about local tourism or not local tourism, Germans are known to be traveling worldwide. And they don't want to stay at home. They don't want to stay in their own country the whole time. So they want to travel. But are you able to provide sustainable measures to control and curb COVID-19 in your area, in your house, in your business? That is the biggest question we are asking.
So fantastic, well put in. So basically what we are looking at is that the first upselling, is health and safety. So things are changing. That's one of our key selling points. Safety, health and safety would be very, very important. We'd also like to hear from Barbara. Barbara Scott is in Germany as well. And thank you so much, Barbara, for jumping on the call. And we'd like to hear from you. Barbara is a director of Chiranjani. We'd like to hear from you in terms of what's happening, what's on the ground, and what should we expect?
Thank you, Charity, for throwing me into this. But I'm very happy to join you. I'm very excited about this webinar, and I can only agree. I think the counties need to take up the reins in their hands. So this is a fantastic step forward. I agree with James. I think what we're seeing here right now is an increasing demand. People want to travel. They want to go abroad. Right now, we obviously have a travel warning in place in Germany until end of August. Yeah. And Kenya was actually just included into, according to the leading German institute, they were just included basically as a high-risk country. Yeah, so that is not helpful. Maybe just to add to that, which means basically I think until end of August, September, we're not going to see travel to Kenya. But what can be done is exactly that, the positioning, the branding, and the communication needs to be in place. Yeah. So if we say what Germans, for example, and I think that applies for many other Europeans, what we would like to see is, are the health and safety standards, the hygiene standards in place? And I think the question we need to ask ourselves here is, how can that be communicated? Not only as a company, but for example, also as Nakuru County. Yeah, how can you communicate that you are a safe place? What kind of measures do you have in place? I think the other thing that we need to see, looking at all the different discussions that are taking place right now about the new normal, is what are our new target groups? What are our new markets? Because consumer behavior, what we can see, is changing. People are looking for more sustainable products. As James said, they're looking for, what are you doing with the community? Are they included? Is there a more holistic approach? Yeah. Do we see that where we are going, it's supporting the local economy, for example? Yeah, I think that is also an important point to ask. But Angela said a holistic approach. I'd call it also for companies and businesses in Nakuru to look at a circular approach. How can you collaborate? How can you work together? Yeah, and to understand what people actually now want. So that would be a unique experience, health and safety, hygiene. How can I ensure that? And that is obviously very important. Yeah, and how does that support the local environment? Yeah. So these are really different components where we need to raise awareness with businesses how to accommodate this and how to communicate it. I think that is very, very important.
For those insights, really, really appreciated. We are definitely going to get into some conversations and see which way forward. We have one more question for, since you've spoken, I think I have another extra question for Angela. And Angela, seeing that there's a lot of that is happening, a lot of changes that are going on, we'd be looking at capacity building for our staff, so that they can be able to embrace the new normal, as well as the stakeholders in the industry. So we are grappling on where to start off, and in terms of, we have to be in line with the new business model to the new clients, the new normal of ensuring health and safety is key before anything else. And how do we match this into an experience that the guests will enjoy? After that, Chair Peter, please, you can take over.
Thanks, Charity. I think just to echo what Barbara and James have said, yeah, one of the things that, what makes a business successful, one of the key components is the people, yeah, your staff. So one of the key things that we feel that we need to embrace, and this goes beyond just Nakuru County, is how do we prepare our staff? Yeah. So when you talk about building capacity, we talk about developing products, we talk about understanding consumer behavior, but we also need to understand our internal behavior and our internal management. Because if we are talking about developing tourism that is, long-lasting, that is responsible, you're talking about consumption, responsible consumption, best practices, who's going to pass that message out? So one of the places I would call all the stakeholders to start is definitely building capacity for your staff, because you need to get them ready. Yeah, we're not saying that we want a second phase, but imagine somebody came to your premise and they were unwell. How do you handle that? Yeah. So those are certain things that we must look at. Yeah. So like I said before, it's not just about developing products. It's about systemic change. It's about thinking like a spider web. Yeah. How do I move to make sure that all these key things people are talking about, safety, health, health. We heard from our friend in Jamaica saying you also have to look at wellness. Yeah, those are certain things that people will start to be interested in. So when you're building capacity, you move from your staff. Then number two is that I always call for all-inclusive stakeholder engagement. Yeah. So we need to be talking about, we need to have conversations with the local community, because these are the guys who will make that experience worthwhile. These are the guys who will make people go and write Nakuru County on TripAdvisor or Lonely Planet or all these sites that will attract people initially. So we need to think, like Barbara just said, when you talk about a holistic approach. So when you're also building your capacity, you've got to think about your staff, you've got to think about the supply chain, you've got to think about, who interacts with the consumer. And another one that's very important, Charity, that we need to build capacity on is our tour guides. Yeah, we've got tour guides, and they make up the biggest component or part of the puzzle of this experience, because they're the first ones who will see these people. They're the first ones who will be with the consumer. They're the ones who, give that experience. Yeah. So we've got to anticipate. I prefer thinking of the situation before as opposed to when it's already there. So when we're talking about restarting, reopening, saying we're ready for tourism, we've got to look at the whole chain. Yeah. So that, like I said, we need to think about value. What aspects are we going to include in our tourism to actually create value? How we've been given an opportunity as tourism to just do things right. I've always said, we've spoken about sustainability for such a long time, yeah? We talk about what should be done. I know with the tour operators, especially the ones in Nakuru, and they see my face, and I'm always pushing them for sustainability certification. We've always said we are busy, we don't have time, it's high season, we're moving to this season, but we've been given an opportunity to restart and do things right. So the call again is, number one, build capacity for your staff, because they're the ones who will be dealing with the consumer. Number two, you've got to think about the supply chain. And number three, most important, is that we cannot forget the local communities. These guys contribute highly to what an experience is. If you look at even before post-COVID, we were talking about the markets, the demographics were showing that the millennials are the ones who are going to be buying these products. And I've always said in all my trainings or any conversations that I have, yeah, Angela is a millennial. What do you think I will be looking for when I come to your property? When you start developing avatars, yeah, consumer avatar, I am building a product, what will they be wanting? And this is able to guide you on the processes, that you should look at fulfilling in these times of uncertainty. And then Barbara has also spoken about communication. And I call to all the stakeholders in Nakuru. When March happened and we all went into lockdowns, everybody went quiet. It was like, where is the tourism industry? They all just went quiet. And I was like, silence also speaks something. Yeah, we need to find ways to communicate. We need to find ways to responsibly do it, so that we also not piss people off. Yeah, package for package. Yeah, remember, at the end of the day, you said now we'll be dealing with a consumer-centric approach. Yeah, so you need to be thinking, when you're building capacity, how do you communicate? Because communication, at the end of it all, yeah, will influence how your business grows or it doesn't. Yeah, and it's a fact. We've had all the analytics, the economy analytics speak loudly and say that SMEs will struggle. Yeah, so if we're saying they will struggle, how do we start to work through that? We try and avoid some of these things. Yeah. So one of the key things is that communication is something you must build capacity on. We must redesign our communication strategies. We must be able to pass the right messages. And again, when we're talking about holistic approach, it's just saying that you've got to think about your internal and you've got to think about your external. Charity.
Wow, awesome.
Thank you. Good, good, good. Madam Angela, thank you so much. I think you have put it very clearly for us in terms of sustainability. We understand that capacity building is very important. And something that has been mentioned by Ms. Barbara Scott and you and others is the holistic approach that we need to take. And also more important is about the support for the local community. Now, just to add a little bit about the staff capacity, it's also very important that in these hard times, companies that have all these staff who have helped them build their organizations, they should think of every way they can to be kind, to be considerate, to be generous. So I think I'd like just to say that. And I know we do that within the scope of what we can afford and what we can do. Now, I have a couple of questions here. Thank you so much, Ms. Angela, for that. A couple of questions came through, and one of them actually is just, I'll read some of the questions and then they can be answered by, this one can be answered by anybody. It was supposed to go to Mr. Kyoko, the tourism, I think it's our tourism from KTF, but it can be directed to our CEC, Bona Raymond. Now, the industry, the tourism industry, is most affected sector of all the sectors in Kenya. We know that. And shortly after things start to open up a little bit, even though COVID will not be gone, other sectors will start picking up. But the tourism industry will still pick up using the local, by going and getting into the local market and really working it and mining it, kabisa. But you understand that since we won't have any local international tourism, we're going to all try and share this local tourism and grow it. And going back to the 2 billion that the government has given us, and it's not a grant, we know it's their loans. Is it possible that we lobby the government again and see whether they can give us something more substantive, not in terms of money, but in terms of a tax holiday, maybe on VAT or something? And we wanted to ask this question when the our KTF boss was here, so that he can take this question a little bit further. Because, you know, we've said before, and I'll just repeat it because it's something we covered last time, people have issues, and when they start reopening up, they have sales that are just up to a certain extent, let's say 2 million shillings, and the cost of operations are 3 million, and they want to bring everybody back. They'll be hard pressed to start paying taxes before they pay their employees and all that. So that question can be answered by our CEC. But I'll read some questions from, and this one is directed to Waziri, to our Waziri. We have a lot to showcase in our county, ranging from lakes, national parks, and conservancies, agritourism to Menengai Caldera. How has the county repackaged the Nakuru as a destination in readiness to embracing the domestic tourism? Do we have a one-stop shop where one can log in and get all this rich information? This question is from Mr. James Karaya. And I'll ask another question for you, Waziri. To Waziri and Mr. Mwangi, I believe it's time we created an online portal for all tourism products and services, bookings and information sharing. And this is from Mr. Francis Njue. And then he continues to say his tourism technical team would love to work together in making this possible. This is from Mr. Francis Njue. So Waziri, on to you and to Mr. Mwangi. Thank you.
Unless what kunaishi beef sana na DG. No DG endangi ground sana. It's because tangu kwa roads. Hey. DG doesn't want to be.
Okay, can you meet Waziri? Madam Charity, can you mute Waziri and then we send him a message?
Okay.
Please. Now, we have other questions
I think
here.
Yes.
Go ahead, Madam Charity.
I was requesting if Bwana Mwangi can proceed and answer the other questions as I try to get Waziri online.
Sure.
Thank you, Mr. Kamen. I don't know whether you have any other question for me or just answer that one from Francis.
You can answer that one from Francis. You can also answer the one from us looking for a better break from the government as our chair.
Okay, I think I would like to start with that one from Francis, which has come up many times in the past about having a portal where we showcase our products. We are working closely with the county government of Nakuru, though it has taken longer than we expected to come up. We were working with even other stakeholders to come up with a portal that can help each and every person who would like to know or to buy or even to sell any tourism product or service in Nakuru to enter. I know Francis. I'll get in touch with him so that we can make sure that this one is possible. But maybe to still add on what you have raised a few minutes ago, especially on funding. I've gotten information from the Tourism Finance Corporation, and they are saying that yes, they are the custodian right now. They are the custodian of the money that has come from government. The 2 billion that has come from government. They are the custodian, and they are giving it out in two phases. The first phase is for those who have been in this industry. They have been affected. They cannot manage to pay some costs, and they are giving it as a soft loan, not as a grant, as a soft loan at 5%, per annum, and they're giving a grace period of 6 months to start repaying. That is 5% per annum. And then for those who would like to join the industry, those who are in construction, those who would like to revamp this industry, they'll get at 11% per annum, 11% per annum, and they can extend a 1 year grace period. That is it. But I want to also echo what other panelists have put in here, especially on experience. I agree with that, with Angela. I agree with Court about the experience, because people right now will be looking at what they're going to experience when they visit a destination. It is true in Nakuru, we need to create very nice experiences for different people, and more so when you look at the international market. There's something that Madam Barbara Scott said that's a bit scaring, that Kenya has just been listed as the high-risk countries in Germany. High-risk country. So what does that tell you? It tells you that the future for this industry is not so much in the international market, but in the domestic and regional market. Because if we are high risk, we don't know for how long we'll be in that category. And even if they remove that advisory, how long will it take? Look at what Dr. General said, that they are approving which countries their airline like Lufthansa can fly into. So it becomes a very tricky. If we expect the international market to help us survive, then we'll be in for a very rude show. Thank you, Manakamani.
Thank you, Chair Mwangi. At this time, I know we have, I'll read just comments that have come from the audience, participants here. And one is from Y. Marshna. And once I read these comments, I know because of time and would like to really be on time, we'll let our panelists give one last comment, and then we'll have to end. But thank you so much. So let me read these comments. One is from Y. Marshna to the panel. I have a comment. I presume that this forced break due to COVID-19 has provided for an opportunity to work on your supply chain. And yes, this should be to everybody who is listening, who is a stakeholder. Now, because of time, would like to close because our time is really finished. There are many comments that have come, but we'll take them next time. Would like to ask our panelists just to make one quick comment and then we close. Madam Charity, over to you. And once you're done, I think you can close. I thank you very much, everybody. So, Madam Charity, to you.
Thank you very much, everybody, for jumping on board. There's a question that I'd like to answer from one of the participants who asked whether we're going to have a tourism day. And yes, we're going to have a tourism day, and we'll keep you posted. We're also going to mention that these Zoom calls will take place every Thursday. So keep that in your diaries and join us every Thursday just to see where we are at and what we are doing. And we seriously want to engage with the stakeholders in the tourism sector so we can be able to position and brand our destination. I'd like to pass over to Michael Grant to just give in one comment before we close off, as well as our CC, Raymond Komen. He's ready to also give some answers, and to Angela as well. So I'll start off with Michael, and then our CC, Raymond Komen, and Angela. Michael?
Yeah, thanks. I just want to close off by saying that the stakeholders in the region shouldn't be too worried. I think that the tourism product, whether it is for local or international visitors, is extremely strong, and you should stand behind it. I think there's tough times ahead, but they won't last long. And I think if we all stick to it, we should come out ahead in the end. I think there's difficulty, but I think what you have is strong enough.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Michael. We shall be in touch and see how we can be able to work together to build this great destination. CC Raymond Komen.
Charity, yes.
Over to you, your closing remarks, winding up, and you can touch on the website. There's a portal question that had come in, although Bonamongi touched on it a bit, but that's a question that came up in terms of having a one-stop shop where we can be able to find everything about Nakuru.
Thank you, Charity. Thank you, Chairman, Mr. Mwangi, Mr. Kimani. Thank you, all of you, for the input. It's been quite insightful. First and foremost, the other week I mentioned that we've been working with the association to come up with a portal that will have all the information for tourism, all our sites, all our attractions, as a one-stop shop. I want to confirm that we have a site that we have revived, and we are rebuilding it under the Visit Nakuru ambit, and we will be sharing with the association so that at least this year this matter is addressed, and we'll be ready to proceed to market our county and our sites. So that is work in progress. As for tourist information centers, we have just completed the development of a tourist center within Nakuru at a building called the Weights and Measures. That's where we have built and set up a one-stop shop for tourism and other trade-related functions for the county. Now we will be proceeding to set up a similar one in Naivasha, and we'll be inviting to take you people around so that we have proper tourism information centers, not only virtual but actual physical, but also physical locations, both for Nakuru as a destination and Naivasha as a destination. And I want to thank Bwanamwangi for really engaging us as a county with regard to the one-stop shop, with regard to the portal, and also the website. So the Visit Nakuru website will be up and running very, very soon, once we have made the required subscriptions required by us. Charity, thank you.
Okay, fantastic. Thank you so much, Bonasisi, for that. And we really do appreciate taking time to be with us. I will hand over to Dr. James Karanja, your parting shots.
Charity for this chance. One thing I've been asking myself a question is about the things that we are debating here. Where can one find them after we are done? And this is because I have seen what the government is posting or what the media is posting about the situation in Kenya. Don't worry much about what John government is saying and writing about Kenya. Worry about these ideas that we are putting together. Where does the public find them? Because we are talking about safety, health safety, health security of the people. We are going to manage that. We are going to give good products. We are going to invite people to Nakuru. But where is the public reading this information? How do they find all these ideas so that they may enjoy our discussions and say Nakuru is a safe place, let's go there? So these are the questions I'm asking myself, and I want to post them to you. And then the other thing that I want to ask you is, as you think about branding and finding something that is attractive about Nakuru and North Rift, why should people come there? Why should my family, why should I bring a group there? In one word, or just in an animal that you could use to explain the situation. These are things that you guys should be thinking of as you go home. And myself, coming from Nakuru, I want to say the final word that Nakuru is a very good place for trekking. Nakuru is a very good place for biking. Nakuru is a very good place for bird watching. So these are things that you people could implement very easily for the locals as we wait for the internationals to come. And internationals will come soon.
Thank you so much, Dr. Karanja. Your insights are well received, and I believe that this is part and parcel of our brand and communication strategy that we are working on. So though that's work in progress, and also bringing out the essence of Nakuru County, as Michael Grant shared with us. So this is work in progress, and we'll shortly or soon be sharing with you. Our CC has talked about the Visit Nakuru portal. So all this is part of the communication strategy so that we can be able to communicate and tell people that, yes, visit Nakuru for this particular purpose. I will go over to Angela. Please give us your parting shot, Angela.
Thank you, Charity. Let me begin by saying thank you to the Nakuru team. It's, like I said, it's very refreshing to always engage with you. You give others hope. You give me hope to know that counties are actually taking it serious to develop their products and to actually consider how we can bring everyone aboard. So in my parting shot, I would like for us to think of a few things and to consider as we remodel our businesses. Number one is that sustainability now is habitual. It's not going anywhere. It's not that thing we talk about on the side. It is here to stay. New normal is also here to stay. What we're referring to now as new normal is going to be that stay normal. Yeah, it's not going anywhere. So we've got to find ways. We've got to identify our challenges, be proactive. Yeah, and also explore the opportunities. Yeah. So like Mr. Grant was saying that there's opportunities that come with these challenges, but it is the ability for us to adapt to these challenges and actually build businesses that will make us thrive. Yeah. So if we're looking at thrivability, then we've got to look at consumer behaviors. We've got to look at stakeholder engagement. And when I say stakeholder engagement, I am saying that the communities in Nakuru County now need to be part and parcel, yeah, of your business models, of your attractions. You've got to think about that holistic approach. And lastly, Charity, is that it's time for us to, I'm trying to think of a very simple way to put it. It's time for us to think collaboratively. Yeah, it's time for us to think. You know, I had Mr. Komen talking about building a website, touristic centers. We've got to start thinking, what more can we give that will make us different? What more can we give that will give back value? Yeah. So we've got to talk about tourism that is deeper than just the attraction. Over to you, Charity.
Wow, thank you so much, Angela, for those great insights. We really do appreciate. And before I hand over to Bwana Mwangi, we have Antonio Cheng, our CEO of TOSC, Tour Operator Society of Kenya. You've been on the call from the beginning until now, and you're part and parcel of the revival of tourism, and you're on the committee that was set up by the president in terms of tourism revival. So give us some insights, your parting shot, and then I hand over to Chair David Mwangi. Anthony, you can unmute yourself.
Yeah, thank you very much, Charity, for giving me this opportunity. We were privileged to be in the committee of the task force, which came up with the protocols for the national hospitality and tourism protocols. But I cannot say much, but what I can maybe point out is that all the concerns of the stakeholders and in the industry were well taken care of. Well, I cannot preempt because the document has not been officially handed over to the CS for tourism. So once the document is handed over, then it will be released in public. But at the time being, what I can say is it's a well thought out document. It is very comprehensive and it covers tours, travels, hotels, aviation, adventure, every other thing that is, included, and also the retail sector. So basically, let's wait for it. Once we hand it over to the CS, we should be able to, talk about it, and the implementation phase will follow thereafter. Thank you very much, Charity. Thank you very much, NCTA. You're doing a good job. We look forward to participate and also to partner with you. Asante.
Okay, thank you so much, appreciated, Anthony. And Bwana Mwangi, I'm handing over to you to give a parting shot and close the meeting. I take this opportunity to sincerely thank all the participants for staying out. You've been here from 2 o'clock. 2 hours of your time is well appreciated. Thank you so much and God bless. Over to you, Bwana David Mwangi.
Thank you so much, Charity. Thank you. Let us clap to our moderators, Charity and Mr. Kimani. You have done it so well today, just like always. I'm so grateful today. Thank you so much to our panelists, Mr. Michael Grant. I was noting down what the panelists were saying because we need to always have a way forward, which is out of this kind of meetings. And I want to thank Mr. Grant, and surely you have given us hope, all the way from Kingston, Jamaica, waking up early at 6 in the morning to join us. Thank you so much. I've gotten insight, especially on the essence of the region. We're gonna look at the essence of this region, particularly in Nakuru, the uniqueness of our experiences here in Nakuru, and the attributes of this region, all those coming from you in Jamaica. We are grateful. Thank you. We think of wellness tourism because it is among the areas that are on the rise. I want to thank Dr. Michael Karanja. Thank you so much. You've given us how things are in Germany right now, and you're doing the testing phases in Germany with some places. We are learning from that. Thank you so much for reminding us that Germans like traveling, and I know very soon they will be here with us. We hope that as we go along, we're gonna share more and compare notes from your end also. Thank you so much, Madam Barbara Scott, for, I know that was an ambush from Charity, but thank you so much for joining in and sharing passionately about this topic. I want also to thank our Waziri. Thank you for being there for us, for supporting us, for holding our hands so that we can work together. And I know this journey, we're gonna work together and we're gonna win. I'm also grateful to Madam Angela. I know you've really been of help to us, especially here in Nakuru. And I know all these points that have given us. You started by saying thump up Nakuru, and we receive that on sustainability. You have given us a lot on experience. Customers are looking for that experience, not just a site, but an experience. We look forward to working so much on experiences more than site, and then also to consider the locals that are also in this tourism so much. My parting shot briefly is to tell you that there is hope in tourism, especially here in Nakuru. There is hope. Underline that one. There is hope. I know that great people and great things have come out of after crisis. I know, look at what Kigali is going through. Look at Rwanda itself. 1994, 1995, who would have thought that they would be where they are right now? I know that after this pandemic, we're gonna come out strongly, and we're gonna be among the market leaders as far as destinations are concerned. I know the only important thing that we need to do is to embrace change, because there will be a lot of changes in this industry and in this sector. Let us embrace change. That change that we cannot fight, let us embrace it. Nobody knew that this particular time of the year we will be like this. This is a high peak, especially for international market, especially the Asian market. They will be full in this country, but they are not there. So let us embrace change and look at what I believe the strategy is, looking at what is working and you accelerate it. Let us look at what is working and we accelerate it. And I know there are so many things. We've gotten great ideas from the panelists and from the moderators. Let us look at what will work for our region or for our destination, and let's make sure that that one is unique. Nakuru can be unique in its own way, and people will just come out from wherever they are and visit us. And finally, let us talk the good things about Nakuru. I know there is no place in the world without negatives, but let us always portray the good things about Nakuru. I know Nakuru, the good things outweigh by far the negative ones. But let us talk about Nakuru. Let people know that there's a region called Nakuru, and the people of Nakuru are ready to host both domestic, regional, and even international markets. So with those few remarks, I want to thank all of you. Thank you from the depth of my heart. I want to thank also Mohammed Hessi, who had to step out. I'm so grateful that next week we're going to be having a greater and even a bigger meeting. You are invited to join at any time. And for that person who asked whether we'll have World Tourism Day, as Charity said, yes, we're going to have it this year, bigger than the past 2 years that we have celebrated. Thank you so much, and God bless you. So you can leave at your own pleasure now.
Thank you.